up some barbecue for you. T-Roy's chilling in the backyard grilling, showing you that you can cook it too. Always with a beer or whiskey, but he cooks responsibly.
Hey everybody, welcome to T-Roy Cooks and welcome to another Tuesday chat with old T-Roy. If this is your first time here, this is where I answer your questions. If you've got a question for me, please leave it in the comment section down below. I will add it to a future chat for you. And I've got to thank each one of you. I think the last time I did a taped chat is episode 106. It was a couple, 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I'd asked y'all at that point to come up with some questions for me. And I'll tell you what, y'all slammed me pretty good. I had over 70 questions asked in the comments section. So I chose some of those, and some of the ones that I didn't choose I'm going to save for a later episode, just in case I'm running short again. But I mean, I got plenty to go for a while. You asked a lot of brisket questions too, so maybe I'll take the brisket questions out of that list of 70 or so, and I'll just make one video, a chat talking about briskets. That may be something we can do. But man, having a great week. It's hotter than all get out. It's like 100 degree plus every day here, 105, 108, something like that. So you need something to cool off with. You have your favorite beverage of choice. I happen to like some of this stuff right here. This is from Four Corners Brewing, isn't that what it is? Yeah, Four Corners Brewing out of Dallas. El Grito. It's a lager, about 4.4% on the ABV. I really like this stuff. I think I've shown it to y'all before, but it's real good. I like it. I'm not really into the heavy, darker beers. I can handle the ambers and stuff, but like stouts and porters and all that. And I don't like IPAs a whole lot anymore either. Used to when I was younger, but I just don't like how bitter it is nowadays. Cheers to everybody out there. And if y'all are just, I've got a lot of new subscribers, folks, so a lot of you guys are new watching this. Every other week I'll alternate. Like I'm doing a taped chat this week from questions people asked in the comments section on a previous chat. Next week will be a live one. So I'll alternate between live and taped every other Tuesday. And on Thursdays I put out a cooking video in case you want to where I do cooking videos. And I mentioned in the last live chat that, I got to talk about this hat too. In the last live chat I mentioned that one of my fans, Micah G, sent me a video of him imitating me doing some fried chicken. Man, I couldn't use the video. He had some music in the background, and I don't want to get one of them strikes against me. So I told him I couldn't use it. He made another video, doing some ribs. So we'll have that video coming up for you one day this week, I hope. What else? Oh, the hat. My good friend, he's got a cooking channel called Texas 2.5. Y'all go check him out. I'll leave the link down below. In fact, if I mention any of the YouTubers that have channels and, in the cooking community and stuff, I'll list their links in the description box. Y'all be sure and check out the description box for a lot of great info, along with the questions and what time frame in the video those questions are asked and where I answer them. But the hat, Jonathan over at Texas 2.5, he's my Lone Star Grill brother. He's got him a nice 20-inch Lone Star Grill like me. His is a 42, mine's a 36. But a nice 20-inch Lone Star Grill. He's got some great videos, but he wanted to send me a surprise. He sent me this hat. It's got my logo on it. I don't know if y'all can see that up close or not. Nice leather logo on there with my logo, my T-Roy Cooks imprinted in it. I love it, man. I love it. Appreciate that, Jonathan. He actually sent me 2 hats, different colors. I got one that's kind of a greenish gray, and I got this black one. Questions. Let's get to it. What do you say? I try to keep these taped ones to about 35, 45 minutes. My live ones, sometimes they go an hour, but I try to keep them an hour or below. Let's see what we got. First question, Jack McKone, okay? Jack McKone actually asked 2 questions. Folks, if you ask 2 questions, a lot of time I'm going to separate them to 1 question to try to give more people time to be able to ask questions. So, Jack, I got 2 questions from you. I'll answer one today and I'll answer one in the future, okay? Question that I chose from Jack today is, do you or Justin have any experience with the Lone Star Grill cabinet cooker? Some of us have a hard time putting together long stretches of time to tend to a fire. These things are said to hold temp very well for long periods. I love my Weber Smoky Mountain and dream of a Lone Star Grill stick burner for the ultimate brisket flavor, but it might be helpful to have something that cooks with wood and has a long, reliable temp. Yeah, try to keep the questions a little short too. I can't put that much stuff in the description box. I'm gonna have to trim this question down a little bit. So if you check the description box, you may see, a couple of lines of this question. But anyway, yeah, I'm limited to like 5,000 characters in the description box. Just so you know out there, I'm not, you can ask me the question as long as you will, as long as you want. But I'm just saying, the longer it takes me to read, the less time it takes from other people, and I can't put it all in the description box. Jack, your question about the Lone Star Grill cabinet smoker, I have not used one. Justin has one, but it's on his offset, his 24-inch offset. He's got what they call a warming oven, but it's basically sitting right over the firebox, so he can smoke in the cooking chamber above his firebox. It's just a rectangular box, or square box with a firebox on it. Check out Greg over at Ballistic BBQ if you hadn't already. He's got one, okay? And I want to say Larry Wolf has one as well. But Greg loves his. And he says, you're right, it's very, very fuel efficient, holds temps very well. But with anything that burns wood, you're going to always have to tend to the fire and add wood every so often. Now, I will say, tending to the fire on the Lone Star Grills is a lot easier than tending to the fire on my Yoder, okay? I'm not sure about other pits. I haven't really used other pits, but that's my experience with Yoder and the Lone Star Grill. Lone Star Grill is much more efficient, much less hassle to try to keep up the fire going and everything. So take that for what it's worth. And you're right. Greg absolutely loves his cabinet from Lone Star Grill, and I know Justin loves his cabinet that's on his offset. So there you go. Might want to talk to both of them, see what they have to say about it. But just from my own experience of watching Justin cook on his, I'd say it's pretty nice setup, man. Pretty nice setup. Now, you may be able to buy that now if it's cheaper and get you a real offset later with, like Justin has, with that the cooking chamber cabinet smoker on top of the firebox. That may be an option for you. I don't know. Anyway, Jack, I appreciate the question. He says, Salud. Cheers to you. Appreciate it, Jack. Next question is from Abigail Vomelmo. Abigail says, hi, do you only smoke with your smoker or do you cook steaks, hamburgers, and hot dogs too? Depends on the smoker you're talking about. Like on my Weber Smoky Mountain, if I take that midsection off, I can use the base with a charcoal grate down in the bottom with charcoals and then a grill grate right over the top of that. I can grill on that baby, just on the bottom base, and use the lid like I would to cover it. It does fine. I've cooked steak. I got a video of me grilling some steak on my Weber Smoky Mountain base. So it is definitely possible. Do I do it often? No, because I got a Weber kettle. I usually use a Weber kettle for stuff like the quick grilling or my gas grill. You can also grill on an offset. Like on my Lone Star Grill offset, I've got the insert for the cooking chamber. It's actually a charcoal grate. It's designed to sit right under the grill grate in my cooking chamber on my Lone Star Grill offset. It holds charcoal. It's a rectangular piece, and it's like having a charcoal grill inside my cooking chamber. Do I use that a lot? No, I don't, because I want to use my Lone Star Grill mainly for smoking. I can grill if I put a grill grate over the wood directly. I can grill that way on my firebox. So that works pretty doggone good too. So can you do it? Yeah. Do I do it a lot? No. Because I got a Weber kettle. Great question though, Abigail. I appreciate it. And thanks for the question, man. Issom Beituni. I apologize. I'm messing up your name, I know. Got a question for me. He says, I guess it's a he. Issom says, I've seen how you set up your Weber Smoky Mountain and I'll watch a video how Harry Soo does it with the chunks buried. Have you tried his way? Cheers to you, my friend. Hey, cheers to you, Issom. Appreciate that. Yeah, Harry Soo's method is he puts the wood chunks in on the bottom and then pours charcoal over the top of that, so that as the charcoal briquettes burn, they slowly smolder and ignite the wood chunks. Which, it does work. I have tried it. I think I did a brisket video or a pork butt video using that method. But it does smolder the smoke, okay? It makes your wood chunks last a lot longer, but it does smolder the smoke flavor that gets into the meat. So that's one reason I don't personally use it. It's all personal preference though, you know? I mean, it works. I would rather stick the charcoal on first and then put the chunks on top of the charcoal and let the charcoal slowly ignite and in turn ignite the wood chunks that way. That way, the chunks of wood are getting some clean air, and it's not dirty air, it's clean air, and they're igniting and actually making more airflow within the Weber Smoky Mountain, which gives me a little bit cleaner burn so I don't get that smoldering smoke flavor. Hope that makes sense, but that's my own 2 cents. Either way will work though, depends on your preference. Appreciate the question, Issom. Daryn Ikeda, or Ikeda. Aloha T-Roy. I appreciate that, Daryn. Cheers, brother. Hello. He says, I'm new to smoking, and I just got my first 22-inch Weber kettle. I have a question on maintaining clean blue smoke. If I add more wood once the cook starts, will I get bad smoke? If so, how do you prevent bad smoke when adding wood to a cook? Thanks. Mahalo, Daryn. I appreciate that, Daryn. Thank you very much. Daryn, when people talk about thin blue smoke, they're talking about using an offset with wood, stick burner, okay? They're not talking about your Weber Smoky Mountain. They're not talking about your Weber kettle. They're not talking about your Kamado Joes, big green eggs. They're not talking about your pellet cookers, you know. They're talking about a stick burner, a true pipe type offset, okay? You can get thin blue smoke on those other cookies if you've got a lot of airflow going through it. But with a lot of airflow, you're talking about higher temps unless you're using a lot less charcoal, which means if you're not using that much charcoal, you're going to have to reload more often. So pluses and minuses of it, you know. So I don't worry about the smoke billowing out if I'm on the Weber Smoky Mountain or on my Weber kettle or even my Kamado Joe and stuff. I don't worry about it a whole lot, man. You know, if I use my Yoder Wichita, which was a pipe type smoker offset, burning real wood, then yeah, you know, I tried to keep the air flowing really good over that wood to keep the wood going, and also not let the smoke linger too much in my cooking chamber. Most of it would go out of the stack in a nice clean burn, which will give you the thin blue smoke you're talking about. But a lot of these other cookers are not designed that way, so you're going to have a hard time getting thin blue smoke on the other types of cookers, okay? Again, don't worry about it. Just let the cooker do its thing. I know when you add wood, you know, it's going to smolder. It's going to smoke it first until it ignites. And if you've got a really low fire, it's just going to smolder. The wood probably won't ignite unless you're using wood chips. But if you just want a lot of smoke flavor, just let the cooker do its thing. If you want to try to get a thin blue smoke, use less charcoal, keep those vents for the intake wide open, and keep that exhaust wide open. But you're going to be burning some fuel pretty quick. I hope that helps, Daryn. Hope that helped, man. Next question we have is from my buddy David over in Swinton, Manchester, UK. His channel is I guess it's a channel, but his YouTube name is DJK Electrical. He says, cheers, Troy. Cheers to you, David. Appreciate you joining in, man, asking the question. David says, I subscribed to your channel some time ago after I enjoyed watching you smoke brisket on your Weber kettle. I appreciate that, man. Thanks for the support. He says, it's something I've been wanting to try for a while, and you persuaded me to buy a Weber GBS. GBS, that's the Weber grill something series. Grill. It's where you get all the bunch of different parts and grills and grill grates and accessories, I guess, you know. I forget what they call it. Anyway, I know what you're talking about. So he's got one of those. He says, anyway, first time I cooked on it, I smoked Texas brisket for the family gathering, and it was a great success. When I served it up, I found the point was much more juicy and tender than the flat. While I was cooking, I measured the temperatures, and the point seemed to be hotter than the flat. Do you think that the point may have been juicier because I got to a higher temp, 190, than the flat, which was 180 when he pulled it? Or do you think I may overcook the flat? He did 6 hours unwrapped, 2 hours wrapped, 2 hours rest with no spritz. Cheers again, David in Swinton, Manchester, UK. David, that's going to be the same with all briskets, man. The reason that your point reaches a higher temp before the flat is because of all the marbling in it, the fat content within the meat fibers, okay? That fat helps cook the brisket from within, helps cook it faster. The flat has no fat, man. I mean, really, really minimal fat in it. That's why it doesn't cook as fast, and that's why it turns out dry. Really, the only thing you can do with the flat is to try maybe injecting it and let it, sit for an hour or 2 hours or 4 hours, whatever you want to do, before you smoke it. That will help. It's not a cure-all because, again, the flat doesn't have very much fat, if any, in it. So you're talking about just a dry slice of meat. And what you could do is maybe try cooking the entire brisket up to about 200. But every brisket's different. Yours might have been done at 190. I've had briskets done at 185. I've had a brisket wasn't done until it was about 225. So every brisket's different. When it probes tender in the point, go ahead and pull it off. And if you're just cooking the flat, pull it until the flat itself is probing pretty tender. It's not going to be super tender like the point, but it should probe pretty doggone tender. Or until it gets about 195, 200. Then you can be pretty confident that it's done. So I think you did good, man. If everybody enjoyed it, that's what matters. Just practice some more. Maybe try getting a better grade of brisket if you can. I'm not sure what the grading system there in the UK is, and I'm not sure how marbled your brisket was. But when you actually buy a full packer brisket, try to find one that when you pick it up, it almost folds over on itself in the middle. Okay, folds over. Like full brisket, it'll fold over on itself. Not all the way. It'll probably go, like that, but make sure it folds pretty good. It's easy. It's not stiff. Also look for brisket that has a lot of marbling in the meat itself, okay? So, and try to get a brisket that doesn't have a really thin flat. If the flat tapers down to almost nothing, you're gonna wind up cutting that off because it's gonna wind up being jerky, okay? Try to find the flat that has the thicker flat, the brisket has a thicker flat on it, and that way you're not having to trim a whole bunch of it off and it'll cook more evenly. Just little helpful hints. Great question though, David. I appreciate that, man. Keep that smoke rolling, brother, and cheers to you. All right, Dustin Lally says, if I didn't want to spend money on the slow and sear for the Weber kettle, what can I do to my kettle to turn it into a smoker without breaking the bank? Now, Dustin, that is a fabulous question. What you could do is get you some regular bricks, like you would build a house with, or a garden bed or something, put around the border. Get you some kind of a clay brick, and use the brick as a heat barrier in your charcoal area where you put your charcoal. Like put your charcoal against one side of your Weber kettle, and then put your bricks. And what the bricks will do is help deflect the heat upward instead of out under the other side of the grill. Okay, because usually you're cooking indirect if you smoke. And you can also, if you want, put a water pan under the meat. Okay, or put a water pan on top of the grate over the fire to help introduce some moisture into the meat and on the surface of the meat to help it absorb smoke. And you can try using wood chips, but you're probably going to use some wood chunks, because if you use wood chips, you're going to have to be putting chips on there quite often, like every 15 minutes or so, to keep the smoke going. So I would use chunks. Yeah, just regular bricks, man. That'll work fine. Give it a shot. What else we got here? Let's see. Mixed smoked meats. Don't know if he's got a channel or not, but mixed smoked meats. There you go. Hey, T-Roy, I always love these chat videos. I appreciate that, Mick. Sorry about that. I need a swig. All right, Mick says, my question is, why do you primarily use Worcestershire sauce as a binder instead of yellow mustard? Do you notice a difference in flavor? Cheers. There is a difference in flavor. Yeah, the Worcestershire sauce is more beefy flavored in my opinion. That's why I like it. I don't mind mustard. I'm not a huge mustard fan myself, all right? Like, when I get a hamburger and stuff, I don't like mustard all over it. I do get mustard on my hot dogs, though. But I'm just not a mustard fan, man. That's the only reason. Plus, mustard is kind of messy to mess with, you know. You get it all over you and stuff and stains up your clothes. And anyway, I would just rather use Worcestershire, but it's personal preference. Either way will work. If you don't have a binder, just use water or some kind of like canola oil or olive oil or something. That'll work too. Sometimes I use fruit juice, man. You know, just something to help the rub stick onto the meat. You can also try without using any binder and just let the rub sit on the meat for like 15-20 minutes before you put it on your cooker, and that'll absorb moisture out of the meat and help the rub stick. There you go. Appreciate the question, Mick. Mark Biagi, he says, I have a question about brisket. Man, I told y'all we had a bunch of brisket questions. Can you cut brisket into smaller pieces? Yes, you can. He says, I'm dying to smoke a brisket, but they're always too big for my family of 3. If I buy a whole brisket and cut it up and freeze some of it, would smoking the smaller pieces affect the outcome drastically? Thanks in advance. Not too drastically. I know there's some of the barbecue places here in Austin, man, they'll take the point and the flat and separate them and cook each piece separate. That way you're getting a more dedicated cook on each piece, okay? You can pay more attention to that exclusive piece or that exclusive piece. So what you suggest is fine. It'll work fine. I will say with the flat portion, you may want to inject or wrap it, you know, and try to help keep it moist because, again, flats don't have a lot of marbling, so they turn out dry. It'll work, though. That'll be fine, man. Go for it. Nothing wrong with that, man. Nothing wrong with that. Alex Brennan says, hi, T-Roy. Most brisket I see here in Ireland comes with no fat cap. It has already been cut off. So I'm wondering, how would you tackle cooking one of those? Also, they're much smaller than the brisket you guys get due to the cattle being grass-fed and not grain-fed. Most briskets over here goes into burgers and or is braised in the oven with root vegetables for hours. Thanks in advance, and thanks for any advice you can give. Alex, yeah, man. You know what? Actually, not having much of a fat cap is a good thing because you get more bark, okay? For me, anyway, I'm a bark aficionado, guys. Y'all know that. I love my bark. So sometimes I will trim. I mean, a lot of people say to trim your fat cap to like 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch. Me, I don't mind having some shiners in there, man. I'll trim the heck out of it because I want more of that rub on the meat itself, which will give me more flavor in the meat and more bark. So it's not gonna hurt anything, man. The only thing that the fat cap does, and I'm gonna do a test on this just to verify my thinking on this, but I think if you cook fat side up, I think some of that fat drips down or melts down into the meat and helps keep it moist. So not having that fat cap could make your meat a little drier than you would normally have it over here in the States anyway. So again, try injecting it, try wrapping it. Once it gets to about 140, 150, you can wrap it, put you some beef broth or beef stock or just water, something in there to help keep it moist, man, you know, and it'll help it cook, you know, and retain its moisture. But give it a shot, man, you know. Actually, one of the best briskets that I ever had was a brisket I got from Lobel's, and it was grain-fed, prime, but it was grain-fed, all natural. That's some good eating, man, real good. I think natural beef has a better flavor. I don't know what it is. Yeah, you know, it's of course what they eat, you know, growing up, but they just have a little bit different flavor. I don't know if it's a sweet flavor or more of a earthy flavor, I guess, you know. More so than if you had a cow that was raised on grain. Anywho, great question. I appreciate it, Alex. Joe Box, how you doing? Cheers to you, brother. Joe Box says, hey, T-Roy, I got a brisket question. I'm telling y'all, I had a bunch of brisket questions. I may just call this chat, I answer your brisket questions. I didn't realize I was putting all these brisket questions in here. I was just kind of copying and pasting. So sometimes it happens that way, man. What you got for me, Joe? He says, when letting a brisket rest, do you let it cool down a bit before wrapping in a towel and placing it in the cooler or putting it in a cambro? I did a prime brisket and placed it in without letting it cool. It continued to cook, making it way overdone. Have let it cool, and it worked fine. Just curious as to what everybody else is doing. Thanks, and a big cheers from Arlington, Texas. I'm a fellow Texan. Cheers to you, Joe. Appreciate you, bro. Yeah, general rule of thumb for me when I'm doing a full packer is when I take it off the smoker, I'll let it sit in foil or just sit on a cutting board that's got a groove in the edge to catch the drippings. Let it sit on the counter for a good 20, 30 minutes. And then I'll wrap it and tint it in foil. And a lot of times I don't even put it in a cooler or a cambro or anything. I don't wrap it in towels because I'm fixing to eat it. Now, if you're going to try to keep that brisket warm for 6 to 8 hours after you pull it off, then yes, let it cool, then tint it so that, let it cool about half hour, then tint it so that it's going to retain its moisture in the foil and stay warm. Then wrap it in towels like a beach towel, big, thick, heavy-duty towel, and then put that in the cooler. That'll keep your brisket warm for a good 6 to 8 hours usually, and it won't be overcooked. Great question, Joe, man. I'm glad you figured that one out, and I'm glad I could, what do you call it? Support you on your theory. There you go. All right, we got a question here from my buddy Dan. He's got the handle on YouTube. Hello, youthful. Hello, youthful. All right, this is a question regarding wood. I'm in the UK, so hickory and pecan are very expensive. We have plenty of oak. Will this be okay to use? Also, I just got a smoker, not the best, however, it's a start. Cheers, Dan. Hey, cheers to you, Dan. Appreciate that, man. Yeah, bro. I'm gonna tell you, man, I love oak. Oak and pecan are my favorite. So if you can get your hands on some oak, go for it. It's a little bit less strong than hickory or mesquite. It's about the same strength as pecan, and it's stronger than your fruit woods. So it's a good medium smoking wood. That's what I love about it, okay? Especially if you're doing a roast like a pork butt or a brisket or something thick like that. But I use oak or pecan on pretty much all of my cooks. Every once in a while, if I'm doing some ribs, some pork ribs or some pork butt, something like that, or a shoulder, sometimes I'll throw some cherry or some peach, or even maybe some apple, But I like cherry and peach because it gives you some color without giving you a whole lot of smoke flavor. But I also mix that with my pecan or my oak or hickory, whatever, but usually pecan or oak. But yeah, man, appreciate the question, Dan, and use all the oak you can, man. That's good stuff. All right, guys, I think this is my last question here. I think it is. Yes, it is. Okay, we got a question from Mike DeMayo. It says, cheers, T-Roy. He actually said, cheers, Roy, but my name is Troy, T-R-O-Y. Just want to call me T-Roy. Ha! Cheers to you, Mike. He says, I got a question about grate temps compared to the smoker unit temps. I put temp probes on my grill grate. The temp is always 25 degrees and sometimes 70 degrees different than the temps displayed on the smoker unit. Should I cook by the grate temps or the smoker unit temps? Thanks, Mike in the 805. Always go by your grill grate temp, okay? The temp will fluctuate on that grill grate depending on the airflow within your cooker, and that'll also give you some fluctuations on your dome or your lid temperature probe for the cooker itself that came with it, or if you got an accessory you added, The best way to tell what the temp is where your meat's at is to take temperature reading of the grill grate, because that's where the meat is. It's not up in the lid. It's not down below the grill grate. It's you got to have the temperature where the meat is and the same level of your cooker. So yeah, always choose the grill grate temperature over the temperature of the cooker temp gauge. All right, folks, that's about all I got for you. I appreciate y'all joining. If you have questions for me, ask them in the comment section down below. Be sure and check out the description box. Sometimes I throw some added stuff in there of some of the things that I use to make these videos, or some of the affiliate links that I have if you're interested in any of the products you may see me using in my videos. Also, don't forget I do cooking videos on Thursdays. Y'all come check them out. And if you're not subbed, please go ahead and subscribe. If you didn't get your question asked on this one, don't worry. I'm saving those questions for a future chat. So I appreciate it very much. Hope y'all enjoyed it though. Y'all give me some thumbs up if you did. Hope you share the video. When you do, please tell all of your friends that T-Roy cooks responsibly. Cheers, everybody. We'll see y'all next time.